this was like my very first attempt of using Photoshop. This is way before iPad decided to put a pen out and a pencil out, which now I use religiously. I remember being very proud of these, and I think, I graded pretty well. I didn't grade super high, I think it was pretty average. Today's video is going to be quite embarrassing because I'm going to be showing you my very early stage architecture work. This is work from my second year in architecture school. I really wasn't switched on first year, guys, and hopefully by the end of the video you guys will get a good idea of where I started, where my architectural skills were at a very basic level, and then as we go through each year of my work, we'll see how things progressed and how my skills drastically jumped. I think especially between second year and third year. It's going to be entertaining just to see how basic my work was at the very beginning. So let's get straight into it. Okay, so the first project I did was this project called The Precarious Giles. And this was a folly project, and even to this day I don't completely understand what follies are. All I knew was they were something that implied functional operational value, but they still were not explicitly something that carried out function. So they had a very ornamental aspect to them. Let me find the official definition just to see if I'm right or if I'm completely off. A costly ornamental building with no practical purpose, especially a tower or a mock gothic ruin built in a large garden or park. Okay, yeah, so I was kind of right. It's basically something that's got to have some architectural value, but it doesn't necessarily have a function. We started off by doing these CAD drawings of these plaster cast models we made using various random objects, and it was really a test for our CAD skills, and it was helping us to build those important digital design skills. The thing I really love about University for the Creative Arts, which is where I did my part one, is that they pushed you to do things that were fairly outside of the box. So no one's really going to want to use, CAD software, AutoCAD, to do these really abstract, non-geometric, non-conforming lines. But by doing this, we really pushed the software to the edge of its capabilities, and it taught us about being experimental in our drawing styles as well. So this was like my very first attempt of using Photoshop, and as you can see, it's very crude. I remember I was really happy with this, especially by putting that water inside that little creek there and the sunset and everything. But obviously in hindsight, I look at this and think it's really basic, but you've got to start from somewhere, right? Anyway, I continued this kind of Photoshop exercise where we were just trying to experiment with ways of showing what of our potential follies could be. So, thinking on a deep conceptual level about a structure which doesn't have any explicit function, but also thinking about how that could sit within a very strange landscape. So building the contextual skills and also building our digital design skills, and further to that, building our wider architectural conceptual skills too. This was the Photoshop collage that I was actually most proud with, adding a bit of greenery. This one actually felt like it had some life. I was figuring out scale, but also we were obviously thinking about precedent studies. We were thinking about inspirations, and further to that, I also did these very basic proposal sketches for what my follies would be. And I remember I did this on my Samsung Galaxy Note, which was like, we're talking 2000 and I don't even know, 2014, 2015, where I was using this stylus on a Samsung Note. This is way before iPad decided to put a pen out and a pencil out, which now I use religiously. So yeah, it's just funny that I was still trying to use digital sketching tools before they became more sophisticated. So again, obviously, this is a very early stage project. What you're probably getting from all this is the brief was trying to cover kind of fundamental architectural skills you need, like digital design on Photoshop, using CAD programs, thinking about concept in a wide and thought-provoking way, and now this, doing some very basic maquettes. So all these fundamental skills, they were really fun to learn, and then trying to translate that into CAD drawings, which, could you get any more basic than that? But it still was a very valuable exercise, and I know I'm being a bit harsh here, but in hindsight, this is like really basic. But at the end of the day, you know what? Sometimes a drawing is better, simple. here are some more sections that I was doing to kind of understand. Well, I think I was trying to understand how you can visualize your proposal as a 3D model and then interpret that as a drawing. So it was a very interesting process for me to actually build something by my hand, like a maquette, a design, and then translate that into a CAD drawing. So there was a lot of guidance, obviously, in second year, and this was a very useful brief to teach us all the fundamental skills that you need in architecture school. And then there was sort of some wider elevations and sections in context, just to also bring in that additional layer of the terrain, which was a hugely important thing. And we were finding loads of different ways to accurately draw those sections based on the models we made. And that was a challenge, but very useful again. And then, this was the final part, which was actually quite fun, where you take your CAD drawings and you're not doing a collage, but in a way you are, but you're just adding that additional layer of Photoshop to bring your drawing to life. And I remember being very proud of these, and I think, I graded pretty well. I didn't grade super high. I think it was pretty average, just above average grading. But, I wasn't thinking about grades. I was just trying to figure out what I can do and also trying to understand what the hell was going on. I think some people come into architecture education with experience already, and that's kind of scary because a lot of people come completely new to it. I was definitely one of those people. This was all new to me. Never used CAD, never used Photoshop, never thought about architectural ideas in this way. Seemed to pick up a lot of good skills quite quickly at UCA. So yeah, very grateful to them. And just a quick thing about the actual concept. Obviously, you can see this giant cantilever. So I was looking at architecture as illusion and, not thinking about the function of the thing, obviously, because we're talking about Foliage here, but thinking about something that makes a statement or plays a alternate functional role, in my case being an attraction for people to come and kind of use for fun. This was the other drawing. Again, I was very proud with this. Again, thinking about texture, thinking about how you can make something look like glass or translucent enough, and also thinking about scale and how humans can kind of interact with architecture. So overall, really useful project. I think there's like one more drawing that is here. So these ones were like much bigger drawings, but again, it's pretty much the same thing, a slightly different cantilever. But yeah, it's funny thinking about what you're really proud of in your early stage of your work, but then 4 years down the line, you're like, what the hell was I doing? That's so basic. But no, I'm proud of this work. I hope you guys enjoyed that video of my first project in architecture school. It was my second year of university because my first year was a disaster. I wasn't really focused, and I pretty much almost failed my first year. So this was the first year I actually took the course seriously, and I started to really introduce myself to all of the architectural softwares and processes and thinking required. So you can see this is the most basic level of my work, and in the projects that followed there was a massive improvement, especially in the third project. If you want to see more of my projects, just leave a like and a comment to say yes, we'd like to see more, and I will show you my other projects, and you will see in those projects that there is a big jump in skill and understanding as well. So let me know if you want to see that, and then hopefully once we're done with second year, I can show you my third year of architecture work in my bachelor's, my RIBA part 1, which was the year that I actually tried my hardest. Let me know if you're enjoying these project run-throughs. I think it opens up a really transparent way of looking at our journey in architecture school for those of you who've done it and those of you who are planning to do it. It's not always about that final finished pristine drawing. It's about the difficulty and the hardships you go through and the learning processes. So hopefully this helps anyone looking to get info on that. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you guys are also checking the architecture podcast out on my channel if you're not already up to date. We just finished the second season, and it was a really successful episode with Sean Adams talking about how we both almost failed architecture school, ended up kind of finishing on a really high note and really proud, and just kind of talking through truthfully all of the hardships we went through. In any case, stay happy, stay positive, guys. I'll see you guys on the next video.